Welcome back to the clubhouse. Garen Emig of the Tulsa World with Bill Haston, also of the Tulsa World. We write columns for your appreciation, hopefully, either online or in the newspaper. If you are consuming this video, we thank you for your online patronage. You can check out videos we do as a sports staff every week. Bill and I on sports in general, also with Eli Letterman on OSU, Eric Bailey on OU, Bryce McKinnis on TU, Barry Lewis and Kelly Hines on Preps. We'll give you the content as long as you keep watching it. If you would rather have audio only, you can download and subscribe to the audio version in podcast form via Apple, Spotify, or Google. Thank you very much, seriously, for your continued support. Bill, I thought we would give football a little bit of a break this week and dive into college basketball first, since you were at Stillwater last Saturday to watch the Cowboys beat Oklahoma. You had some thoughts on the game. You obviously led with Caleb Boone for his big performance in that one, but I thought most interesting was the commentary on the future of the series. And we lump, because of this OU and Texas to the SEC, we look in terms of future Bedlam, I think strictly in football terms, and worry for its future. And I understand that, but you bring up a point that we need to keep in mind moving forward, that all sports don't have to be equal in this. I mean, they could be, but they don't have to be. And perhaps there is an easier place for Bedlam's future to continue in basketball than in football. So let's talk about that. First, what you learned, what you heard, and what you wrote over the weekend.
Well, there is, and keep in mind, I didn't get a chance to talk to Chad Weiberg. I couldn't even find Chad. He may not have even been at the game. I don't know. But I did talk with several people in the athletic department. And there seems to be a unanimous expectation that there will not be an annual football Bedlam series. There will not be. That's just not going to happen. But with regard to basketball, it was more of a we'll have to wait and see kind of deal. But if you think about it, Garen, and one person did express a pretty high level of confidence. He said, "I think." We will have an annual. I think we'll go home and home in basketball. Not each year, but Norman one year, Stillwater the next, but without a disruption in that series. So, and if you think about it, while OSU does rely heavily on the every other year Bedlam football to help drive season tickets, they have reached a level thanks to Mike Holder's ticket policy that was so unpopular in the beginning, and to some extent still is, but it works. So they're not going to back away from it. But the policy is there's a game designated each year on the home football schedule as the premium game. And if you don't purchase season tickets, Garen, you don't go to that game. They don't sell tickets on a single game basis for Bedlam, right? OU gets its allotment, and then season tickets sales for the OSU people, and that's it. And so that's a great motivator to get season tickets for football. But if you think about it, every time OU unlocks the gates at Owen Field, they're going to have 80,000 there. I mean, I don't care who the opponent is.
Sure.
Missouri State, Illinois State, I'm being silly here, but you could bring in just virtually any opponent. You're going to have 80,000 tickets moved for that game. And in Stillwater now, they've reached a level where they're going to have a consistent 50,000 plus for every opponent on the schedule, which is mind-blowing when you think about as recently as 07, they sold 32,000 season tickets. But they've really turned the corner on attendance and ticket sales at OSU. So I think OSU can continue to flourish without that Bedlam game every other year. And OU is going to flourish. And then, if anything, OU with some of these SEC schools coming in,
right?
I mean, that is a draw. That's going to be a real fresh change of pace for the OU people to get those schools, to get Georgia and Florida, LSU, Arkansas. That's another underrated, under-discussed aspect of this move to the SEC is I expect OU and Arkansas to light it up with regard to a rivalry. And you wonder, why haven't they played so many more times than they have over the years? Well, here we go now. And Arkansas hopefully sustains its trend with Sam Pittman and continues to sustain itself as a 9-10, 8-9-10 win type of team. And I think OU Arkansas will be a heck of a rivalry. But with regard to basketball, OU needs a Bedlam game. OSU needs a Bedlam game because there aren't that many games on the schedule for which each side's going to get 8,000 or 9,000 people, right? I mean, otherwise you're looking at crowds of half that most games. So it's an easy schedule. It's a bus ride. I don't think you're going to see a Kansas, Missouri dynamic here. I think you'll be, I think we'll have Bedlam basketball for years to come. Although, I'm rambling here, but I did talk with some former players like Doug Gottlieb and some of the coach Henry Iba coached guys. And with one exception, they were like, to heck with OU. They're choosing to leave. Let's move on. Let's don't just separate. Let's go ahead and divorce here. So that was Gottlieb's message. Literally, he said, "No thanks, I'm not interested." But I think ultimately you'll see Bedlam basketball be sustained on an every year basis. Norman 1 year, Stillwater the next.
Well, I think that's important, Bill, because again, we tend to shrink everything when we talk about college sports into football terms, because it's not just the financial driver of everything, but it's where the interest is. Let's be honest, especially in Oklahoma. The job that Gundy has done this last half of his tenure in Stillwater, pulling the Cowboys on closer terms to OU, has the focus on the jeopardy that future football Bedlam is in because of what Oklahoma has done and going to the SEC. But last Saturday, it showed me that there must be Bedlam basketball if at all, if there's any interest at all on behalf of both parties, for two reasons. Number one, you don't have, outside of those two games, a lot of people in either arena. You just don't. Porter Moser's done a good job, I think, reconnecting with OU students in Norman, but they're not filling more seats in general admission at Lloyd Noble Center. You've seen some of this, the crowds in Stillwater have been rather sorry this year, point blank. OSU's having I wouldn't call it a sorry season. I'd call it a mystifying season in terms of being a 500 basketball team with talent far exceeding that. Oklahoma, before beating Texas Tech last night, was in danger of squandering its NCAA tournament bid. And so you don't just have fan apathy with regard to the two programs in general. You got sort of uneven performance. You didn't think about that Saturday because it was hostile. It was loud. People were invested for 2 hours. It wasn't the best played game, obviously. It was a pretty sloppy game, but it was dramatic as hell. And you'd sense, you were there to see it. I was at home to watch it. You sensed that the Cowboys thought it was a pretty big deal to win it. Yeah. And so all of this leads into, what, for as much noise as we make about Bedlam football, because of all the different factors in that, Bedlam basketball is when you can really feel the heat in this thing. And so for that to completely vanish, I think would be just heartbreaking.
Yeah, amen. And honestly, Garen, in fact, I told Eric before the game or before we went over there, I said, I don't expect more than 8,000. We were talking about parking in the pregame. And I said, I think it'll be okay if we get there at an hour and a half before tip. We're going to be okay on parking because I don't think there'll be more than 8,000 people there, and then 11,000 plus. And it was a legit 11,000 and a really engaged. It was also the Remember the 10 home game, right. The commemoration of the Remember the 10 plane crash victims, and the OSU people always, that's a holy day for the OSU people. So, but still, it was still only 2 days removed from a pretty nasty winter storm, with some icy conditions here and there still, even Saturday.
Yeah.
So, it was really cold Saturday morning. So there were reasons for people to stay home, but they didn't. They went to the game. So I think it was a testament not only to the what people wanting to pay respects to the memories of those plane crash victims, but it was a testament to the power of Bedlam,
Sure.
no doubt. And I mean, yeah, I mean, as far as these teams go, Arkansas did OU a favor a couple of nights ago by beating Auburn. I haven't even looked at the net rankings since that game, but I mean, that has to help OU a spot or two. OU helped itself, obviously, last night. OSU, Mike Boynton is still winless in Fort Worth. He's never won a game down there. They haven't won down there since Brad Underwood was a coach at TCU. So I'm not so mystified by OSU lack of performance, because I just don't think they have a point guard. You know, obviously everything ran through Cade Cunningham last year, and when you don't have that go-to person as a facilitator, you know, and when spacing gets messed up, and you know what I mean? I mean, it's just, I think likely cast as a point guard. So I think that's the root of most of the problems for Coach Boynton this year. Just doesn't have a quarterback. He's got it's like when you have to have like an athlete playing the quarterback position instead of a classic quarterback. That's kind of where they are right now with basketball.
So that's what you touched on earlier in the week. You've got something coming up later this week or early next. We'll stay with OSU. That you've been on fire with regard to enterprise columns, is what we call them in the industry, very sort of outside the box pieces that you have taken on for us. And I'm excited about your latest project that involves the mascot at OSU. And if you think you know everything there is to know about Pistol Pete, I don't think you do. Based on what you've discovered, tell us what you can without giving away the game.
Okay, well, here's the first takeaway after going through all those interviews, and I say all. I've only transcribed 3 of them so far, but they combined total is like 72 minutes on the 3. but Pete is considered more of an ambassador than a mascot. And so I got a direct message on Facebook from a guy a couple of months ago. And he was telling me about a memorial service, and that a family member had passed unexpectedly. And he said, our family was staggered by this. By the way, Pistol Pete attended the memorial service, and the family was really moved by that. I guess I didn't even ask, but I guess the guy was an OSU grad. So I thought, I wonder how common that is. I'll tell you how common it is. Now, including games, okay, and there are a lot of games, but including games, if you combine games with special appearances like weddings, memorial services, corporate events, alumni events, Pete makes about 750 appearances a year. Now, there are 2 Petes. It's like Santa's helper, right? You got the real Santa Claus and Santa's helper. And that's what you have over there. You have two students who both are Pistol Pete. And it is so interesting.
You said 750 appearances a year.
With the
Holy
2
smoke.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's like 2.2 a day or whatever it is.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I know. But you know, like one of the 2 Petes this year, Parker Wilson and Michael Albright, Parker is Pistol Pete number 91 all time. And Michael is number 92 all time. That's how they're identified, 91 and 92, like a president, you know. But it is common for on a Saturday for the Pistol Petes to have as many as 8 engagements to attend.
Golly.
Like a game in the afternoon, a kid's birthday party in the morning, and a wedding reception in the evening. And but they go all over. I mean, from in Oklahoma, border to border, and then into Arkansas. A lot of events in Dallas, Houston, Austin. It's just really interesting. But yeah, it's Becky Jackson is a Sepulpa native, and she's the Spirit Squad coordinator at OSU. She coordinates the Pete schedules, but after talking with her, her story's interesting too. I mean, she was a Palm Squad member, Gundy's first 2 or 3 seasons as the head coach. And she went on to teach 4th grade for a bunch of years, but for I think the last 9 years she's been involved with the Spirit Squad, the last 4 as nothing else. She was teaching 4th grade, and then she said, I had 2 full-time careers and it was wearing me out. So she just does that now. But yeah, it's just interesting. I guess kind of I don't know. The headline I keep thinking about is "With Love" from Pistol Pete, because that's just, I mean, he does get paid. I don't know if I've mentioned the money part of it, but Pete makes $100 per 30 minutes at an appearance. And I guess, at a happy occasion like a wedding reception, lot of tips, lots of $20 handshakes, coming handshakes. And but like Becky Jackson emphasized, Pete is an ambassador of Oklahoma State, not just a mascot. So yeah, and just some of the I asked her what is considered taboo. She said for about the last 3 years, he no longer fires that pistol at an event.
Really?
Yeah. So it just felt like it's time to do away with that, unless it's like a private event or a corporate event, and the organizer and everybody there is insistent that they want him to shoot the pistol, and we promise we're okay with it. We're happy about it.
Yeah.
But I attended Boone Pickens' 90th birthday party in Dallas Country Club, and Pete was at the entrance, and he fired a couple of shots, and not everybody was a fan. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
I get it.
Yeah. So anyway, but otherwise, I mean, the most taboo of all the don'ts for Pete is don't take off your head. You can't remove your head in front of anybody. As you and I were talking about before we started recording. I mean, that's kind of a mascot policy, universal mascot policy. Don't take off your head. But no, it's I've got an interview later today with a former Pete. They say had, for some reason, he just happened to have more meaningful, emotional, powerful experiences than any other. I don't even know what they amount to.
Interesting.
But I'm gonna find out.
Interesting. Well, OSU's been through some things, so that might be it was his responsibility to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, I can't wait for that. You said you're shooting that out sometime around Valentine's Day.
Well, Terrell wants to our managing editor wants to publish this on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Monday, I think, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of like I said, Pete pockets a little bit of money, and the mileage those guys, and they get paid mileage, 47 cents a mile. But holy cow, they'll have like an event in Lawton. Like one Pete will have in one day a breakfast appearance in Enid, and then an afternoon thing in Lawton, and a wedding reception in Tulsa. Same day. And she said, I'm always careful. And Becky said, I'm always careful to make sure, are you sure you want to do this? Because she coordinates it. And she said, if they want to do it, then I let them do it. So, but yeah, they are all over the place.
That's wild.
Represent Oklahoma State.
It's a great story. Can't wait to read it. I know OSU fans will be all over that. I haven't written much about the Cowboys this week, but I do have one in my pocket that will come out by Super Bowl Sunday, and that's something on Trey Flowers, who is the former OSU safety who plays for the Bengals and will be on the field for Super Bowl 56 this weekend. I didn't talk to Flowers, but I spoke with his former defensive coordinator, Glenn Spencer, and it reaffirms, Bill, I think, the connection that we all assume is there between coaches and players as they move on in life, but this will sort of affirm that. And it's nice to know, because it's easy to get cynical about coaches with everything that's going on right now and the money that they're making and the movement that they're making. But this is nice. Spencer's a class guy. We all know that about him. And he's got nice.
Did Glenn mention that Trey Flowers? Well, I don't want to put words in Glenn's mouth, but
right.
Trey Flowers was the skinniest
Yeah.
college football player I've ever seen when he was a true freshman. And
Yep.
he's still a slender basketball looking athlete even now. But as an OSU freshman, I just thought, this kid's going to get snapped in half. I mean, he was certifiably skinny. But
Yeah.
he was a playmaker. It's covered so much ground. And
Right.
so he was a good player for them. And a really likable guy. I remember meeting his family, his sister. I think his sister attended OSU as well. And great family. So I'm really, and one of the more likable guys they would bring around for us to talk to, you know. So you just kind of naturally, I mean, because we got into this business in part because we like sports, right? And we like likable people. So, I mean, you kind of forget the Bedlam rivalry. I mean, you got friends at both places. I mean, it's just human nature. Unless you're a robot, you're going to have friendships. And I always really like Trey Flowers. So and I'm happy for P. Ryan.
I was going to say, it'll be Flowers, P. Ryan, and Joe Mixon on the Bengals. I think Jordan Evans is on injured reserve. I saw him on the sideline of the championship game at Arrowhead, but he was not dressed. I think he's been on IR for a while. Obo Okoronkwo for the Rams, and Bobby Evans, who I don't know if Bobby plays for the Rams, but he's a backup lineman. He may get in. I'm not sure. Before we're running short of time, but real quick, I'm riding the Bengals. They're the underdog, but I love I'm just sort of attached to Burrow. Joe Burrow he just Joe Cool. I think that's a name that you might have attached to him at one point. And so I'm picking the Cincy outright. I think they'll win the game Sunday because I think Burrow will outplay Matthew Stafford. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I was blown away by, now I'm going to have to pick the Rams by less than a touchdown.
Okay.
Because the Rams have Aaron Donald and Von Miller, and their front seven is real good. And so I'm thinking, which Bengals offensive line will we see this week? What kind of protection will we see Sunday? Will it look more like it did 2 games ago when the Bengals gave up 9 sacks and 1 in spite of that? Or will it look more like last week when they gave up 1? Well, the Rams front will be the best. Front seven is the best they will have seen all year. So have the Bengals turned the corner up front that dramatically, Garen, in 3 weeks, that they can block the Rams and let Burrow, if they can, Cincinnati will win the game. I believe that because Burrow has just got his mojo right now is, he's in a special place. So I like Burrow as the best player in the game. Well, one of the two. Aaron Donald is amazing.
Yep.
That's why I think Jackson Player has a chance ultimately, because Jackson Player looks like a Aaron Donald Jr. Not quite as Aaron Donald is undersized from a height standpoint. And Jackson Player actually is a little shorter even than Aaron Donald.
Yep.
But man, Jackson Player could cover a lot of ground for an interior guy, and Aaron Donald can just wreck a game by himself. So I guess I have to pick the Rams like 31-27.
Okay.
The basis of that, because it's just hard for me to believe that an offensive line could be that crappy 3 weeks ago and then
I know.
And then block the Rams.
I know.
Like you say, Burrow is in a bad place right now, so maybe he's destined.
That's the pull for me. All right, you got 31-27 Rams. I'll go Cincy 27-23. We'll see what happens. Same spread. I'll just take Cincy. Never been a big fan of either team, but I do like a good story. And Burrow's a great story, and so is Zach Taylor, the former quarterback from Norman High School.
You mentioned Zach,
who's gone from everyone wants him out after 2 miserable years to can do no wrong as the Bengals head coach.
From a hot seat to a hot guy.
Oh man!
Great. Now, what's the best halftime show you ever saw?
Prince.
Pretty great show in the rain. How about that? Purple Rain in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
Forgettable. Prince. Tom Petty was great for me. The one that sneaked up on me and blew my mind was Lady Gaga. She killed it.
Mm-hmm.
She's amazing. Remember her flying in from
Yeah, for sure. No.
And when they said Lady Gaga's doing the Super Bowl halftime, I'm like, yeah. And she was, and in fact, I became a fan that day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and The Weeknd a couple of years ago, I had never even heard of the guy, and he killed it.
Yep. It's been a while since I've been disappointed, honestly, by a concert. I can't remember the last time I was like, well, this is a waste of time. So, but if you're asking, I'm putting Prince 1, U2 right after it was after the 9/11. I think they did the 9/11 Super Bowl and had the scroll of remember behind them. I can't remember the song they played, but scroll of names, victims in 9/11. I thought that was pretty powerful. Michael Jackson, once upon a time, put on a pretty good show. I can't remember. I think it was San Diego. For some reason, I want to say it was LA or San Diego.
It was at the Rose Bowl when the Cowboys beat the Buffalo Bills the first time.
Okay, that's okay.
When Dallas beat Pittsburgh in Arizona, 2 years, Barry Switzer Super Bowl, the media bus took us there like 6 hours before kickoff. And I remember being on like a freight elevator at the stadium at Tempe, and then like a big group of people walk in, and it's Diana Ross and Vanessa Williams. Is that her name? Vanessa, the former Miss America?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think Vanessa did the anthem, and then Diana Ross was the halftime.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I can't believe how tiny Diana Ross is. And I can't believe how brave she is, because she got on the running board of a helicopter at the end of her performance, just stood there. Now there was a guy behind her, and she had like a harness, and he hooked some sort of belt to the back.
Okay.
She stood on that running board as that helicopter ascended into the night. And I thought, I wouldn't do that for $1 billion.
Yep.
So that was memorable. A, because I got to see Diana Ross up close, and B, because I couldn't believe she rode off on a helicopter.
And you said, you're a lot smaller than I thought you'd be.
Oh, I didn't say a word. I just looked straight ahead. I didn't want to stargaze, but that's
awesome.
I still can't believe they played the Super Bowl in that rat trap of a stadium.
Hey, listen, sports writers are, again, a cynical lot, but we can get starstruck as much as it doesn't take much. I remember freaking out over the first time I saw Magic Johnson in person at the OU Michigan State Sweet 16 basketball game in Syracuse. That was like 10 years ago. And I'm like, that's an athlete. I'm not supposed to get starstruck by any athlete. I was starstruck. So, all right. Enjoy the game, folks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the games, not just Super Bowl 56, but all the college hoops over the weekend. Bill and I will be back next week to talk more about halftime shows and our thoughts on the Super Bowl and commercials and anything else that comes to mind. Please keep reading our stuff and watching our stuff at the Tulsa World. We appreciate your patronage.